same thing could happen here on the Freya. It's potentially a case where you bite off a little more than you can chew, but it could also work out really well for CGE Sports. And again, this is one of the highlights of best of ones, right? You can actually go ahead and kind of play into this. And we mentioned this before the draft, you know, that potential to bring out some of these cheesier picks or these niche picks, if you want to call it that. And they do that here in this match against SRG, where when you look at this lineup, man, it's, you know, it's somewhat standard. It's something we're used to seeing. Maybe the phobia is not as much, but definitely still serves that purpose of what we're used to seeing for XP laners.
Yeah, I can definitely see the difference there for SRG's.
Turtle up. This guys has an angle on already. Valens too has to be careful. Again, you're a Ganakacha, you're quite tanky. Heal up a little bit here, but he doesn't want to take too many shots. He's going to charge in.
Red Tree going to be won out by Skies. Great Dark Wave. And now it's 2 over as Cram goes in front of Pursuit. Chiku has to run away. Yums with the flicker in forward. A Purify out now as that's been the light shown upon him. Good immobilization. Stormy slow. The peel is massive, and yet 3 just cannot get close enough. In the end, he does, but it will be traded for his life. Another Dark Wave into the Pursuit. And now he's just recalling on Valens.
Confidence, confidence, that's Cram. That's what he brings to the table.
Oh man, you know, hey, that was a team fight and a half for the first turtle, basically. There's some pressure here.
Orange Buff take into the escape, baiting out 3 ultimates from CG.
Way too many resources spent, man. I think that first attempt by CG to try and contest that turtle with how SRG played it, with what they did to the, or what Cram did to the minion wave at bot, freezing EF3 from hitting level 4, just made it look like an amateur approach by CG to go for that fight there. Even if Gary got that turtle, they still would have suffered massive losses in terms of the numbers. So let's see how will CG recover with SRG playing it close to the hand. Very standard, very fundamental. That's working out very well for them.
I think even if we look at CG's lineup, though, like it's still one of those lineup that needs time to go ahead and scale up. Again, Freya, we've seen a couple times already, like you guys mentioned, even in the wild card. But you know, in the hands of a jungler, and you kind of have to put yourself in this position where you're jumping into the objective pits, whether that's the turtle or later on the Lord. You're putting yourself in a very susceptible position. You know, that's something you have to kind of consider here, even in that Valkyrie form. You can see this, though. It's a very minor lead that got built up quickly for SRG, and they'll continue to kind of capitalize on that now. So I'm wondering if CGE Sports wants to go ahead and contest this time. Maybe they have a better positioning in mind to deal with this turtle take, because it's going to be started up. You're going to have that swing over from SRG, and fighting for position. It looks like CGE Sports wants to go for it, but
it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Oh. Chico already getting away. Turtle in control of Yums.
Better positioning overall for SRG.
The finalized baited out now as Yums goes in. Is he able to go for Tsunami Slam? Now as Stormy lights him up. That's an AOG coming down as Valkyrie's set comes over. Petrify the Furious Dive, but there's just not enough damage. Skies wins out the red tree on the turtle, and now it's Amzig who's able to get away. Baits in Cram with the Inferno Pursuit of their turret. Yums hovering over. Valens taken low. 2 death Sonatas. You can definitely feel the nerf on Granger as Valens gets away.
And just like the first turtle, man, it was nearly the same thing. You know, it was a couple bodies dropping for CGE Sports, plus the objective in the hands of SRG. And if that happens again, you know, third turtle, it's going to be kind of the same thing that's happening here. And this scalability that happens here with SRG's lineup is just going to be too much for CG to deal with. Oh man, even Ye3.
Yikes. Oh, flicker shoulder bash. Phantom execution is just coordinated perfectly.
Yeah, Selangor Red Giants, they are as textbook as you can get with a little bit of flair. Another Tsunami Slam.
What a follow-up. The AOG landing. Carry still able to survive, but the turret goes down. Cram on it with Inferno Pursuit again. Lantern Flare, knocking him up, pulling him down. Now it's Valens who's given over to Innocent to get his first Sky Piercer stack of the game.
And that's what I'm saying. They know the limits of this lineup. They know that they did that under the turret, man. You know, they chose to fight and capitalize against this kind of weak point of CGE Sports' lineup. So right now, they're just, it seems like SRG's just taking anything they want here across the map.
I guess you can see why SRG looks so confident in the video to start off the series.
Yeah.
They know that they fully understand how CGE Sports want to operate. I honestly do not fully understand how CG wants to operate.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like it was a very straightforward approach up until the Freya pick. Then you're like,
Yeah.
what? Right? Yeah, but
That's why I almost wonder, what if it was like a freshman or a Baksha, you know? Like, what if it was something a little more bulwarky, you know, something a little more staple that can actually go ahead and get in position and face off against these objective takes?
at least Innocent got what he wanted. These are not the same picks.
It's very different. But picks, as different as they are, it looks like it's just going to be the same result. Amzik is going to be left in the bottom lane. Is Crab going to come in? And he can try and take him.
Oh no, look at
happen.
the cutoff.
Oh no, the sandwich.
Perfect turtle already. They're going to play with Amzik here. An AOG onto him. Amzik was as good as dead. That's a second Sky Pierce coming down now. A taunt landing with a petrify as well. Now into the back, they dive in. Yum's going to take it out of Sky to the back line. Is able to find Chico, and Gary is sustaining, but Innocent is gunning them down. Yeah, 3 taken out by Sky. And Innocent gets a triple.
A triple kill for the Beast, a wipeout too. They chose that fight in the bottom lane and they just couldn't come out with anything except a couple kills. But again, they need way more for CG to get back into this game.
To quote a great man I've seen on the internet millions of times, why are you fighting? Why?
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 I have no idea.
Why would
What
you
was
hate?
the plan?
I heard the question mark on AOG because
Look at this.
yeah.
It was suicide, no? Like, Amzik was as good as dead already.
They decided to come in. They're up against a Lancelot. They left their kidney behind. And SRG again just separated them. And
I mean, not only that, but look at Innocent, man. Like, Innocent's just chilling.
yeah, SRG, okay, this is not to undermine SRG. They're not doing anything special. They're doing their jobs perfectly.
Tsunami Slam locked him down. Amzik still able to go for the Tsunami. Oh my goodness, the turnaround over on Yums. He's still able to survive as Stormy goes up the Crimson Beacon. Innocent is unstoppable. Just Dragon is going to come down on and petrify over. But Innocent will take him out. That is 60 stacks on Skypiercer.
Well, they went for it again, man. I will say there's like these little windows where it's looking like, man, CGE Esports is at least going to take someone with them. They take Yums that time. Almost got Innocent. Now, the question that might be is how much more time does CGE Esports need to be able to actually capitalize on those kills? Because it feels like, again, this entire game, they've just been throwing themselves at SRG.
If their theory here is that maybe they'll get tired eventually, that's not going to happen. They're not going to happen, CG.
SRG can do it all day.
Yeah, they can do it all day. They can just keep going. So open up the map, take down minion waves, stop forcing fights. If one of you go down, just accept that you cannot get the trade at this point. You cannot get the favorable trade that you want to get a massive swing. You're going to need to cross the 30,000 threshold first and somehow hope that they're still not crossed past 40 SRG, but that is close to impossible here.
Oh, Tsunami Slam on balance, dude. They can go for whoever they want, and he locks him down! Oh my lord! That was the main man, that was the frontliner, and Balance just got cooked.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. That's why, again, the Kalea is such a top priority pick when that hero is open. Innocent just taking the shots here. They get the Purify out from Amzik. This Lord's going to be worked on, though. Gary.
Freya's doing work now in a 2v1. That's going to be execution. He needs to space out perfectly. Does with the sustain of Yums. And that's another 19-5 now.
That's really tough, man.
Yeah.
Again, at this point, CG, like I said, is kind of scrapping here for whatever they can get. Yes, Gary will be back for this defense. They still have the Holy Defenses up, but man, 10K behind at nearly the 11-minute mark of this game. This is a massive lead right now for SRG. They'll get ready to go ahead and march towards the base here, getting the Holy Defense down in mid. Top's going to be next. What can CGE Esports do here on this defense? Throw out a couple ultimates out, clearing out that Lord and the lane. They might be able to hold on to these base turrets just yet.
They will be able to. Holy Defense keeping CG's hopes of winning this game, somehow turning it on around alive. I think critical items of the Harith still on the way to the Holy Crystal. Of course, Innocent's been locked in fully for a long amount of time. 10,000 gold lead, 60 stacks of the Skypiercer, 582 and counting as well on the passive of the Granger. So to say that this is going to be a tough climb is an understatement. We usually say this is one of those moments where it will take a miracle, and there's no sugarcoating it. It will take a miracle or a mistake.
Yeah, SRG need to like dive in fountain for this to happen.
Yeah.
Come back. It's ooh.
It's one of those cases, but it's also like, all right, you look at the lineup CGE Sports brought to the table. Carey's jumping in, Ye3's jumping in, but at some point, Amzik has to be able to pop off on the Marathon. Like you said, you take a look at the items, man. He has ground to cover.
Lord.
Look at this, 3,000 behind right now in terms of what Innocent has in his arsenal. Yeah, that's about as cooked as it can get. But you hope that you're able to hold on. And I feel like, in a lot of situations when you're looking at a 10K deficit, that's all teams can do. And you then have to go ahead and look. Again, when you're viewing these games and you see a 10K deficit, you have to start to think, all right, what do we look at? Defense potential with this composition? Are we thinking that it's actually going to be worth or capable of defending the next Lord push? Because they're most likely not going to contest that at all. They're just going to have to defend. And this lineup, unfortunately, you've basically got Valens being deleted too quickly.
That's a 5,000 gold lead for Skies on Gary, dude.
It just goes to show how bad this game has gone for CGE.
They CG. They cooked Gary.
They cooked
Oh, no.
not the ref.
Yeah, not the ref.
Not the ref.
Not the ref, but the player. But I guess that's the version of CG that we got today. Well, Selangor Red Giants. Interesting that they looked at this Swiss stage and they saw their opponents in CG and said, okay, struggled last year. This time, we'll stick close to what we know. Because again, it's a very familiar opponent, so you can't blame SRG for going down this hard. I feel like any other team, this draft would have looked significantly different for SRG, considering who they're up against, the history that they've shared, the fact that they pretty much dominated CG in the playoffs, both in the upper bracket finals and in the grand finals as well. SRG just sticking close to their guns, which is a warning shot now for the rest of the Swiss teams. Because you don't see just yet how deep SRG can go in this M7.
13,000 gold lead. This is the biggest lead we've seen today.
I was going to ask, is it the biggest lead even in wildcards?
I think
close. It's got to be close.
Got a 14K.
14K, that's right, yeah, the 14K. Well, now we'll see if they can defend against it.
Guys!
Yeah. Punctures all around. Gonna try to go for siege. Skies now jumps in, knows there's no AOG. Oh, actually mistimed the corner road. Doesn't matter though. Innocent's godlike. One more stack away from getting the full Sky Piercer stack as Gary's in the cover. Tsunami Slam brought back into the fray. Skies making a turn to the mid lane as Ye3 will fall. They're gonna peel for him. Innocent fully stacked with a double kill in his hands. Now it's Crimson Beacon and the Death Sonatas constantly coming down on CG Esports. Two more ways to play with. This guy's walking up again. That's going to be the Demand Force over. Doesn't even matter. Innocent gets a double. This is almost an unofficial Savage. Innocent has to flick her out. That's a Purify out from Chico, who's able to find a kill now as Innocent walks over. No minions. Let's go for the shot, but Valens able to body block now as he goes on Valens. It looks like they want to stat pad all the way. They don't want to go for the end just yet. They want to get a few more kills on Innocent. That's an AOG into the wave. That's Sonata. He's legendary. He's killed Valens twice in that fight.